The session today is what the heck is funnel marketing? And just to give you a small little background of this, when I started off my marketing journey, at that point, I used to hear this buzzword funnels everywhere. And when you go on to HubSpot or when you go on to other websites to check out what exactly a funnel is, everyone gives a very decent, explanation of it. But it's very difficult to think of it. Ki how do you apply it for your particular website? Or maybe if you do not have a website, how do you do it? That's right. You can implement funnels without a website also. So the number one question which everyone has in mind, according to me, is if I do not have a website, how can I implement funnels? And that's where most of the people don't pay attention to this part. So this is where I am trying to make this very clear that this can be done without a website. This can be done for free. This can be done without a lot of, you can say, um, architecture or investment inside of these things. So with that said, let's look at a few simple things. I don't know about you guys, but Netflix last like on 5th and 6th December, they had the Stream Fest, and in the Stream Fest, Netflix was free for everyone. How many of you guys are aware about this? Netflix was free on 5th and 6th December 2020. How many of you guys, let's keep it simple. How many of you guys use Netflix right now? Press 1 and send in the chat if you guys use Netflix. Now, most of us use Netflix, but imagine this: we have got into, we have Ikjot who doesn't use Netflix, but he knew about this. Okay. Goodleen says she is in the US, she didn't have Streamfest, which is interesting. Goodleen, I guess the main reason over there is in India, you can say people are more privy and more, you can say, conscious about their usage of money when it comes to an online app like Netflix. So that's where penetration in the Indian market is very difficult for these guys, and that's where their marketing campaign had to have something like Streamfest, which is like experience the platform. What they got out of it would be a ton of emails of actual people who want to use Netflix but don't use Netflix. So what has happened is those people got 2 days of free Netflix. These guys must have converted at some point from not being a user to being a user now. Okay. Not everyone, but it's a numbers game. So if 1,000 people have experienced Netflix for free, out of those thousands, maybe let's say 10% converted immediately. Okay. The other 90% are being marketed to right now because their email IDs are with Netflix. Okay. So they are what this is what we say they are in the funnel of Netflix now, right? So this is the most simplest way in which we can see the funnel in our life, right? And in our day-to-day life also, when we look at it, we see these funnels. So imagine we are going to a supermarket, and as we walk down the aisle, there are different offers that come in. Okay. Now the entire architecture of a supermarket is a funnel. You can imagine it's not a funnel based architecture, but I can relate it to it because imagine how a supermarket is designed. A supermarket is designed to have the dairy products, okay, the milk products, and like butter, cream, cheese, and refrigerated products at the end of the supermarket. If you enter a supermarket, you are not going to find dairy products right up front next to you because these are daily use products which they know people want. Now, this is where they keep it way far at the extreme end of the aisle so that a customer actually walks down the aisle and they are being bombarded by different, you can say, offers or stickers or ads and so on and so forth. So, if you see right now, this lady, she's walking down the aisle and look at all the things which are kept. Like there are the packaging, first of all, has been made in a way which is attractive. Usually the colors are set of packaging in such a way that they are in stark contrast with the other competitors, or they are in contrast so that they stand out and they appeal to the person. You'll see a lot of red, blue, yellows in this kind of a packaging. Okay. Now this is where it's the packaging is meant to scream out to the customer, buy me. Then on top of that, there are ads which are there. Like you, I don't know if in this image you can see, but there are few things like 1 second. I'll just do. Okay, so you guys can see my cursor. If you see these hanging packets or sachets, these are out of the shelf. Okay, these are maybe try-on sachets which they want a person to try. Or else you can see this banner here, which is also meant to distract the customer and attract him towards the message. So the entire supermarket is made in a way so that a customer tries on something, or they at least pick it up, look at it. Okay. Same to Netflix, and wherein Netflix actually what they did is they gave the entire platform for free for their prospective customers. Similarly, a supermarket also gives a lot of these free things, or else trials, or else you can say tries to attract people in and out. Now, this is where offers and all those come into play. So funnels are there in our day-to-day life. Okay, let's look at one of these things. How the funnels affect us, right? You need to understand when a new experience is introduced into the system. Like let's say, for example, I have given below few examples of Ola cabs, which is like equivalent to Uber. Okay, Flipkart, which is equivalent to Amazon. Similarly, Zomato is there, which is for ordering food. Starbucks is there for coffee, and Yulu is a new bike service. I will talk more about it in the later part. So all of these services, we all use them. Okay, or we have all experienced these things. Now imagine, what is this graph actually telling us? This graph basically tells us when a new service is introduced, okay, when does a person actually get into it? So there are, in to use a product or to use a service, there are all these bifurcations which are there. Innovators are the people who are looking out for new things, who are looking out for things which are like uh, the new cab service has been launched. There will be people who are excited just to try it for the sake of it. Okay, so these people, innovators, want to experience new things. That's where they, and it marks out somewhere around 2.5% of the share. Similarly, there are early adopters. Early adopters are those who are not as easy or as quick to jump onto the new service, but they are the, you can say, the first ones to make that shift. So imagine when Uber came into the play or Ola came into the play for ride sharing. Initially there were not a lot of people booking Ubers or not a lot of people booking Olas. Okay, what happened at that point is, to attract these customers, the funnel which these guys adopted was a discount model. Okay, it's in a SaaS based model, it is known as a freemium model, wherein you can start out working, you can start out using the service just like that by registering. Okay, but in a case of a actual product or actual service which you are physically using, they might not give you free rides initially. What they would do is they would give you huge discounts. So if, let's say, a commute from Andheri to Bandra would cost you today 150 rupees, at that point when Ola started, it was, I have taken that ride, I kid you not, for 50 bucks. Okay, and today I am paying for the same ride somewhere around 180 rupees also. Now, what has happened is, I was one of the early adopters. I got the benefit at that point. I stuck to the service. When they removed my benefits, also, I stuck to the service. And that's how normally everything works. Think of Zomato. Zomato always, if you see, it's a food delivery app. They keep on giving these offers, ridiculous offers, like if you buy something for 150 bucks, you get, on your first 5 purchases, you get around 50% off. So for a new customer who is signing up on Zomato, they get a bigger discount. For a customer who is in the, let's say, later part of their customer life cycle, they are going to get discount, but they are going to get smaller discounts because they have got the earlier bigger discounts when they entered into this particular space. Okay, and I have seen these kind of discounts go wrong also. Like an example would be um, then. So initially in India, mobile services, right? For incoming calls also we were being charged. Okay, so when we say incoming calls were being charged, they were charged at the rate of 2.5 rupees per minute. Okay, this is somewhere around, I would say, 2000 and 2002, 2003 के around का ये time है. And at that point, I was working in a call center where I was working for Orange. So Vodafone was earlier Orange, then they changed to Hutch, then they became Vodafone, and now it's VI. So I was working for them, and what happened was in the call center, suddenly they launched an offer wherein they said incoming is free for new customers. So as soon as that offer hit the market, a lot of people subscribed to it and they enjoyed the services, which is of a which is basically free incoming calls, which was unheard of at that point. What was the other side to this is old customers calling up and telling us from like literally 24 hours we were back to back on calls and they were all complaining, we are old customers, we are not getting this benefit, how can you give this benefit to others, we will shift, we will change our service. Now this is where this whole offer thing has to be balanced out and it has to be thought of, quite properly before launching. Again, that is one of the interesting things which I have perceived firsthand, how an offer actually goes wrong. Okay. Now, over here, today, these companies like Ola, Flipkart, Zomato, Starbucks, these are all become very sophisticated in their marketing practices. So they know how exactly to treat a customer when they come in early. So Starbucks, what they did when they launched their 100th outlet in India, they gave coffee away for 100 rupees on that day. So this is an offer which is a very unified offer. Anyone who walks into Starbucks buys a coffee on that day, they would get it for 100 bucks, which is crazy. Okay. So let's go back to the graph. Innovators are the people who join when it's new. Early adopters would join in earlier than others because they see a benefit out here. Early majority is the people, and this is where a lot of us, fit in, where there is a productivity gain. So it became very much simpler now after maybe 6 years, 7 years of Ola and all usage, that sharing a cab saves time and money both. Okay. Now this is where there's a productivity gain which everyone has accepted, and most of the people will fall into this. Then there are few people who are late majority. Now late majority is who? Late majority is people who are maybe the generation earlier to millennials. Okay, so our mom and dads, they are still little not so sure about Uber or Ola. Okay, maybe the dad might be, but mom is not. So they still are trying to find their way through the app, book a ride. They need support, they need maybe they would call up their sons and daughters and they would be like, book a ride for me, right? So this is the late majority. And the last, that is laggards, are those people who are like, till date they have not joined this, but just because they have to, they would join in later on. Okay, so this is the way in which users adopt to any new service, and this is true across segments. This is not just for SaaS, which I am talking about. This is also true for maybe if you're running a home bakery business. This will still help you to understand how to attract customers. Okay, so initial, think of how you can do that. Initially your marketing should be to find innovators because these guys want to try something new. Okay, similarly, little bit around that time you can also check out how do you show or market benefits of of your product so that people buy it, so that you can get into the early adopter stage. And the other part, that is early majority, is through ads mainly. Okay, early majority is through ads, because imagine collecting a lot of testimonials from innovators and early adopters, and that's when you can actually start pushing out a lot of ads with testimonials and user generated content, and that's how you can get to early majority. Okay, the thing which I wanted to talk about, this last company, which is Yulu. So right now in India, there is something which is happening, which is, you can say, so let's just search for Yulu. So there's this bike service. Okay, this is an electronic bike, and there is this whole revolution of electronic vehicles which has come to India, right? So what is happening with Yulu is, what these guys have done. They have created Yulu stations in few parts of Bombay. So one of the areas where they have done this is BKC. Okay, and over there they have actually parked a lot of Yulu bikes. Maybe I would say at least 500 odd Yulu bikes have been parked at various points. And what you could do is you could actually just scan a QR code, unlock one, and go around that area, do your work, and then park it anywhere where you want to, and then you can be on your way. The charges for this particular service are just 1.5 rupee per minute. Okay, so imagine and think of the current situation of COVID and all these things, wherein people want to use private vehicles, or people want to use vehicles rather than public transport. So this is a single, you can say, person mode of transport, which you can use and you can park it and you can be on your way. So this particular service right now is in the stage of, you can say, innovators. Now, what happens over here is, this is a service which they have launched. They are waiting for a time when everyone, this might be very common in, New York. This might be very common in cities abroad, wherein there are pick and drop bikes. You just go, you just pick up a bike and you cross across the town, and then you just leave your bike there, and that's it. But in India, this is new. Second part is, electronic bikes are new. Third part is, people need to adopt this faster. So what they have done is, Udo has right now started it off at a very cheap price, and I think it will stay like this. It might even fall below 1 rupee per minute also soon, is what my prediction is. But the whole idea with this is, right now, if you go to BKC in the night, you will see a lot of families, coming there with kids, and kids are having a joyride. You see a lot of youngsters who are just cruising around BKC, and they are enjoying themselves, and it's fun. I would say you guys should also try it out. Maybe if you are in Bombay, check it out. Yeah, this is not just in Bombay. The service is available, I think, in Bangalore also and other parts of India. But very soon this will become common. Right now, we are in this stage of innovators and early adopters. So this is how, if you follow Yulu's marketing right now, you will understand what they are doing and where they are trying to grow across this entire bit. Okay. Any questions till now? It would really help if you guys have questions, because one of the things is, the more you ask questions, the more things will be clearer to you guys, is what I believe. So that's why. Anyways, let's look at the funnel from two ways, that is B2B and B2C. Okay. Now, this is a very simple way of looking at the funnel. The funnel moves from, let's say, a very simple point of awareness. Okay. And this is little complicated. I will simplify this further for you guys. But imagine a customer who does not know about Netflix. Okay. The first thing Netflix does is, Netflix might, uh, let's say, either Netflix might run an ad and he sees Netflix for free, and the person, what they do is they start searching for it. What is Netflix? Okay. Once they understand it is a streaming service, their interest is now caught. If they have maybe gone on to the Netflix website, they might see more Netflix ads in their Facebook and Instagram and everywhere, even Google, right? So imagine they start seeing a lot of Netflix ads. Ki, okay, this show is available, this movie is releasing, this is happening, that is happening, Streamfest is happening. They're like, wow. They read reviews and compare products. That might not happen for a Netflix, but they might read reviews of the show. Okay, and if they like the show, it is like a very hyped show, then they might go in for this. So if you see the promotion of Netflix Streamfest, that was done using their top shows ka content. So one second. Yeah, so if you see, they're using Sacred Games, they're using Crown. Here there is Money Heist, Narcos is there, and these are few of the top rated shows on Netflix. Okay, so people know about this. Like people have heard about Sacred Games and all these things. So that's where the person takes into consideration कि अरे यार नेटफ्लिक्स ये सीक्रेट गेम्स मैंने देखा नहीं था, वो देख लेता हूँ, 2 दिन में वो खत्म करता हूँ. Everyone has heard about binge watching, and people want to binge watch, especially the lockdown and all these things have accelerated these kind of tendencies in human beings, right? Then the intent to buy is basically they go on that particular site and they sign up for it. Okay, and they will evaluate it. That is the Streamfest, wherein they are enjoying Streamfest for 2 days, and if they like it, they might buy it. So this is the funnel in a very simple way for Netflix. If you see B2C, B2B, it's more or less the same. In the awareness stage, people are searching for information because people don't know about that area. So imagine if we are talking about funnel, then the main thing any one of us would do is we would do a Google search called marketing funnel. And the moment we do that, we see a lot of sites which are pitching about this. Then we click onto one of those sites, wherein which we learn more about, let's say, funnels. We learn more about, let's say, some product like Mailchimp, okay, which can help you accelerate your funnel. So we start on the B2B side, whereas people look at products and reviews, okay, to form their interest about it. Whereas in the interest stage, they are not reading the reviews, they are learning about these products. There's a small difference, and that difference, why exactly is there, is it's related to the next part, which is consideration. In consideration, the decision maker in a B2C is the user himself. Whereas in terms of a B2B organization, the decision maker is not a singular person. It is, few of the important stakeholders. So that is why the consideration stage in a B2B cycle will be a very big stage, wherein one of the person who has searched and found that product or service, they will be first of all hyped about that service. They will tell it to other stakeholders. Other stakeholders might have their preferences. There will be a meeting on this. They will see the cost, and then they would, start delegating, start talking, discussing about key, okay, what exactly can the future hold for them if they go in this way. That's where they would get to the next part, which is the demo. Whereas in the intent stage, again, here it's written uh, learn about products in the B2C side. But what I would think of it is, here also people might go in for a demo or something. Okay, now, this is where the information of the demo comes in, sign up, and all that happens. And evaluation is where you experience the product. Okay. So, in case of an e-commerce journey where you're buying a shoe or we are buying a piece of clothing or something, you might review your shopping cart, you might complete your checkout, they might try to upsell you at that time, and you might eventually go on to buying it. Okay. Whereas in terms of evaluation for a B2B product, there would be a presentation which happens from the product company. The product company has to share a lot of testimonials. They have to share a lot of user reviews, case studies. They have to look at, there are times where in a B2B process, the journey is difficult. So what a product or service has to do is they have to first understand the problem which the company is facing, and they have to make a pitch. In this pitch, or a proof of concept, in this pitch or proof of concept, they have to showcase how exactly their product or service is going to help their company. And this is very typical. And usually the B2B funnel, if you see, That particular side would take easily somewhere around a few weeks, like 3 to 4 weeks to 6 months also, to go from awareness to buying. Whereas in a B2C stage, the awareness to buy journey might be just few days. It might be sometimes in a few hours also. Okay, and there are ways to accelerate this. You can induce fear of missing out. You can induce limited offers. You can introduce scarcity in so many ways, which will help you to get that particular journey speeded up. Okay, so again, let's simplify this. But before we get on to that, one second, I would like to understand from you guys, are you with me on this? If you guys are with me on this, please press one and send in the chat so that I know ki we are on the right track. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Um, I would just like to simplify this, because if someone would have told me this, some time back, I would not have understood this to the full extent I would like to. So, in terms of the stages, I've broken it down in very simple facets. One of the first things on the attract stage, okay, the awareness stage, I'm calling the attract stage, okay, and tofu is nothing else. It's not. It is a good rich source of protein, but in this case, tofu is also top of the funnel. Okay, so attract is equal to top of the funnel. That is basically awareness. And how do you spread awareness? You spread awareness using social media content. You spread awareness using videos on social media, articles across the social space, webinars, podcasts, and ads. These are the major, or you can say most popular ways to spread information. Okay. So if you have few pieces of content and you want to talk about your product or service, those pieces of content get posted across social media. Okay, and through that you intend to reach out to as many people who are interested in this piece of content. I hope this is simple, because this is awareness. How do you spread awareness? You just do this. Okay, interest, which is the second part of the funnel, which is basically the middle of the funnel, mofu. Now, once a person is aware of your existence, then they would like to know more about you. And that is where interest comes in. So, how do people know more about you? They can visit your web pages, landing pages, they can be part of your emailers, newsletters, they can be regular visitors to your social media channels and blogs. There's no, like, there are other mediums, but I feel somewhere when you look at it in the digital space today, these are the primary sources where you can market this actively. Now web pages are basically your information, your product information pages or your service information pages. It can be your home page, it can be maybe some inner page, so on and so forth. So if you have, let's say, a product, you need to start talking about it on your website. You need to start breaking it down as much as possible. You need to understand the buyer's journey. You need to think of key what are the objections they are going to have, what are the things that they want. Today the world is changing, so imagine if you were offering a service before March in India, and after March in India you are offering the same service. The service should have changed a bit. Your offering should have included information about the pandemic and how you guys are restructuring as a company, and how you guys are actually giving the service now much better than what it was. Even if the benefits are you know marginally there, you need to start talking about these things in a way so that you fit in to the mind space, or you get the mind share of your audience. Because think of it now, if a supermarket was there, and this particular supermarket was during the corona time, they were not functional to their full capacity because people were not allowed inside, or people were allowed inside using social distancing. Imagine what can the supermarket do to market itself. They can talk about how they are implementing social distancing. They can talk about how they are actually trying to reduce the inflow of customers so that at any given moment they only have few people in their shop. Imagine if this was all shot, taken as content, posted on their website, posted on social media, and people who are just browsing, they notice, oh wow, these guys are doing this. I trust them better versus another brand, and people would intend to go here. I'll give you an example right now. In India or in Bombay, actually, the first IKEA store opened. Okay, the joke here is the first IKEA store opened outside of Bombay, but these guys are saying, "Hey Bombay, come and visit us," which is interesting because okay, they admitted to the fact, or they are not admitting to the fact it's not a store in Bombay as such, but it's a long drive, and they want that experience to be there for people. The thing which they have done is they have started off online booking for this particular thing, wherein if you want to visit IKEA, you need to book online a space for yourself, a slot for yourself, and then visit them. What I recently heard what I heard yesterday is the entire booking slots are filled till the next 2 months. Okay. Now, what it shows is it shows two things. It creates scarcity for me because I wanted to go and now I cannot. So I want to go more. Okay. It's like that show, let's say earlier in single screen theaters, when movies used to release, you would see a houseful board if all the tickets were sold out. And at that point you start feeling, even if you were not that much interested to see the movie, now you have got a validation that so many people are saying I want to see this. So that is scarcity. So this is how even IKEA has actually made the people of Bombay now feel, because the ads on the hoardings and all say, hey Bombay, visit us. But when you go to visit them, you cannot visit them right now for the next 2 months. So this is how you know interest can be generated. So these are all the, you can say, places, web pages, landing pages, emailers, newsletters, social media, and blogs, where you can push in as much amount of content as you want, so that people understand what exactly are you offering, and they can go deep and they can generate the interest what they want to. The next part is desire. Desire is the bottom of the funnel, and this is where a person who is interested, now this person wants to actually just go in for the kill. But before that, they want one final piece of validation. So this is where people are most interested to look at white papers. Okay, they are interested to look at maybe ebooks or brochures or testimonials or case studies, right? All of these things are validations for the customer. Okay, and most of these things, if you think of case studies would be your success stories. So this is where you are talking about, hey, I did this for this person in this segment, and this was a success. So when a customer visits your website who is actually from, let's say, the hotel segment, he is looking for case studies of a hotel segment. So they want to see whether your solution has been applied in their industry. So this is how a case study would roll out. Testimonials, again, in the same space, if you have testimonials, it will speed up the entire process. Brochure is nothing else but a very quick introduction. Okay. And after introduction, there will be logos of partners who you work with, or logos of your clients where you have delivered projects successfully. That is what people are looking for. Ebooks is something which very few people in the space would be interested in, but these are basically influencers in the decision making, you can say, process of a B2B company who would be interested in ebooks. So think of, let's say, if there is a CEO, and under the CEO there is an assistant, and under that particular assistant there is a whole army of people who are basically reporting to the assistant, and through the assistant they are reporting to the CEO. So what might happen is these guys are all trying to search and showcase their best foot forward in the organization. So these are the people who will do research on a particular product or service and come back, "Ki, this service really looks good. can we use this? This will save us money, or this will save us time. And that's where the ebook is targeted not for the CEO themselves, but for an influencer in the organization as such. Okay. In case of a B2B product, a B2C product, it is directly targeted. All your targeting is towards the buyer. So one of the things which people always in marketing talk about, the example which is given out is of dog food. Dog food is for dogs, but dogs are not the buyers. Dogs, the owner of the dog is the buyer. So if you are going to write about the taste of the food, okay, there is no way in which that validation can happen. So you need to understand who you are selling to. If you're selling to a dog owner, you cannot talk much about the taste, but you can talk about the nutrition value. Similarly, if you're targeting not the CEO, but let's say the person who is under them, maybe L1, L2s, and all these guys, then you need to think of their space where they are living, what is their day to day look like, and actually solve those problems for them. Because if you make their life simpler, they will have a positive feedback to give to the CEO or the organization about your product or service. So that's the whole idea which is there, right? White papers, again, a very serious form of communication, more sophisticated. This is good in terms of projecting your solution and projecting yourself as the expert, but needs to be written in a very formal manner. Can't be a very casual, you cannot go very casual with this. Needs to have a lot of information. What I would suggest is, for a white paper, the simplest part would be try to uh, try to put in more diagrams, try to put in more graphs, make it more infographic heavy, and that will make your case more simpler, because you're making it simpler for the person to understand, right? And the last part in this is how you generate desire. You generate desire through remarketing ads. A person has visited your website, you start bombarding them with ads on different social media channels. In the remarketing ads, cater to their objections. Talk about, like, imagine if someone has taken in the membership or taken in the Streamfest offer, and they viewed Netflix for free for 2 days. Now, Netflix has a lot of data. They know what the person was seeing, right? If you start connecting on remarketing ads with that person, if you have seen, let's say, Sacred Games, if you have seen maybe Narcos, then you start talking to them about, you saw these two, but you know what you didn't see? You didn't see Money Heist, and that is waiting for you. Witness the biggest heist, or blah blah blah. And that particular remarketing ad becomes very highly personalized, which then when a person experiences, their intention or their desire will be increased. Okay. The last part is action, which is very simple. If you have done all these steps correct, then you can just push people to take that offer, or take press that, you can say, button, which is buy now, by adding limited time offers, discounts, sales support in terms of B2B. Because in B2B, it is always a back and forth in terms of a physical intervention, wherein you ask them what exactly, why didn't you choose the solution? That can also be a very strong question. Understand from them, and then cater to all of their objections, talk to them as much as possible. Even if they don't buy, it's okay, but understand from them why they didn't buy, so that that information can help you later. And that kind of sales support will show that you guys really genuinely were in it for the business. So that is something which would really help. And the last part is, if you guys can give trials, and anyone and everyone can give trials. Okay, imagine if you're a home baker, you need to have some amount of free, you can say, products to give out, at least to a good amount of people to start off. Now, this freebie is something which is going to help you directly or indirectly. What I mean by that is freebie hai, anyone can pick it up, but it's not necessary that person will try it. They might give that freebie to someone else. So if it can be part of a family, so the father buys it, or the father takes that freebie and gives it to his son or daughter, and the daughter and son might be your customer. Okay, so these are few things which can help people to take action. The thing which we need to understand here is you need to your first interaction with the customer over a period of time has to be always towards the first sale, and first sale is not where you will make the money. Okay, it's like the whole McDonald's thing, wherein McDonald's runs a lot of ads, and the way they have systematically created their menu and all those things, the price to get a customer inside a McDonald's shop. Okay, and they have come across this. If they want a customer to come inside a shop and buy something, that price is exactly equal to them buying a burger and a soda. Okay, burger and a soda. McDonald's does not earn if you enter into their, you can say, operation and buy a burger and a soda. What when do they earn? They earn when you buy those fries. So this is how the business is all about the upsell then for McDonald's at that point, and that's why they ask you, so should I give you fries? Should I add fries to this? Should I make this? So if you ask for a medium meal, they would tell you a large meal is hardly anything, and it's just worth $20. So or else they will give you some other offer. They are always earning in those other things rather than the main thing which they have come there to buy. So that's where the upsell happens. So this understanding is something which you need to have in your business. Where are you making the money, or what is the amount of money you are spending to get a customer in your funnel? Okay. With this, so there are few questions. Any questions till now? It would really help if we have. So if you guys are all clear till now, please press 2 and press enter in the chat so that I can move forward. Cool. I see very few twos actually. So is there any question that you guys have, the remaining ones who have maybe joined in later or something? Then please feel free to ask questions. Okay. Okay, Ikjot, I will have that question answered later on. If you're in digital marketing services, what can we do? Okay, I will come to this, Nirvi, towards the end of this session. So we are having a Q&A at the end of this, wherein we can cater to one-on-one queries. Why ebook was in Bofu? Okay, so the point about ebook. Okay, Gazla, I will repeat myself over there. Vikrant is asking why ebook was in Bofu. So ebook is something which we need to understand. Let's take it from the top, Vikrant. You're attracting people from social media onto your website, correct? Once people come to your website, they are going to look at, let's imagine a customer journey. A person has seen your social media post, then they click somewhere and they land on your website. When they land on your website, they want to be familiarized. Hey, who exactly are you? So they might go to the about page and all those things, or they might land on a blog page or something. When they go on a blog page, and if that blog is good, they would go on to the next blog, or else they would go to the blog listing page to see what more topics are there in this particular section. Okay. uh, After doing some amount of reading, a person might just bounce off at that point. They might come back to it later, they might bookmark you, and then after few days or something, they will keep on going through your website, wherein they might see a pop-up for an ebook or a brochure. And when they see the ebook, you can say pop up, you have a chance wherein you will ask them some details. Like you might ask in a B2B scenario, you might ask them name, company size, company name. You might ask them location. You might ask them title, designation, and need to like intention of download or something like that. So when they fill in this information and they give you for in exchange of the ebook, that's why ebook is something which will show you that they are interested and they have moved forward into the funnel. Now in the desire case, what happens is they are going through the ebook and you are trying to ignite desire through telling them about few things about like what is the company you keep, what is the associations you have, what are the partnerships you have, what are the projects you have completed. So to build that desire, ebook is a great tool. You can give them an offer or a discount also in this particular ebook. So that's why desire, like ebooks are in desire. Okay, I hope that was helpful. In terms of the MACD example, awesome, Vikram. So in terms of the MACD example, Ghazala, what I wanted to explain is the cost of acquisition of one customer. Okay, the cost of acquisition of one customer entering into a McDonald's is equal to the price of a burger and a soda. So let's say, for example, in India, the price of a burger and a soda will be somewhere around 120 rupees. So McDonald's actually spends 120 rupees to make a customer enter into their store. Okay. Now 120 rupees to वहाँ पे spend हो गया. How do they make an edit? Anything which they make over that is profit. So what do they make over that is when they tell you, when you order a burger and fry, they will tell you a burger and soda. They will tell you, ma'am, you can go in for the fries also. Today we have an offer running. A large fries we are giving for 50 bucks. So 120 rupees तो उनका spend हो रहा है आपको shop तक लेके आने में, but 50 rupees then is where they start making money. And imagine the number of people who walk into a McDonald's per day. Like, just to give you an example, in Andheri, which is a city, which is like a place in Bombay, in Andheri station, West Main, there are not one but two McDonald's exactly opposite to each other. The McDonald's on the left side, which is the oldest one over there, starts in the morning 6 a.m. Okay, till night 1 a.m. So they are just switched off for 5 hours. Imagine the number of footfall that they are getting at that point. They are just opposite to Andheri station. Okay, so why I'm saying this is imagine 50 rupees into that footfall. It will be a crazy number, and I guess like I just randomly keep on asking sometimes, people who are in these kind of businesses like Subway shop owners and all, what is the amount of money they earn in a day. So in Lokanwala, the Subway shop owner, basically on a weekday they make a business of somewhere around 30 to 35,000, and on a weekend, that is Saturday and Sunday, they make somewhere around 75,000 per day. Now, when you think of it, 35,000, it sounds big, but imagining like the cost of things which is going, the rent which they are paying, it all equals up. But this is where, if I think of if I think about this part of McDonald's Andheri station, I feel they must be making no less than 4 to 5 lakhs ka business per day. Okay, so that's what I would just try to push that in that sense so that you guys understand. Okay, moving, I hope, Ghazala, that is clear, like in terms of the example. So we all heard about all these things in terms of how the funnel can be and all these things. One of the main things is how can I do this, because this is what we are here for. The next question is, which everyone, I think, like this is the first question which comes to my mind: do I need a website, right? And the last one is obviously, what if I don't have one? So let's look at, in a very simple way, architecture of this entire process, how you guys can implement this. um, the first part, tofu, we just spoke about. We need to house content. Okay, we need a house for our content. We need distribution channel. That is what we spoke about. Now we have we all have access to social media. So Instagram, LinkedIn is where, let's say, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all these are distribution channels, and these are also places where you can house your content. You can start, if you're an interior designer, you can go onto Pinterest and start your, start putting your pins, start pushing your content over there, put in the right kind of hashtags and everything, and over a period of time you will gain popularity. Same for Instagram, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. If you don't have a website, it's okay, skip this part. Okay, skip the website part, but ads, Instagram, LinkedIn are certainly there for every one of us. Okay, if you guys think you guys have access to these channels, please press 1 and send it across in the chat. If you guys have access to ads, Instagram and LinkedIn, or ads and social media channels, basically. Yeah, so I can see most of the people pushing this, and it is there for everyone. You do not need a website here. Okay, so first part, which is awareness, we just need to push in content as much as possible, and that calls for social media networks, which everyone has access, and running ads on these networks. The second part, which is mofu. Mofu is where we want people to land on our properties and them to read and all these things. So this is where, if you do not have a website, you can go in for a landing page. Okay, a landing page is easy to create. A landing page is not that difficult to have. Okay, even Medium is a place where you can blog and you can actually put in your articles and everything. So I've pushed in Medium also as a place for people to read about you. If you want to push in that much content, you need to understand the world today is not much of readers, it is much of people who are seeing stuff and taking action. So videos and images are the ones which are going to go a long way. If you have website, again, is a place where you can structure it the way you want. But if you have Medium, if you have landing page, you can do this yourself also. There is a I was just looking at, before joining this particular thing, I was just exploring MailChimp, and MailChimp has a crazy pricing, if you see, which is free. Okay, what MailChimp says is all the channels which you need to build your business, they will give you up to 2000 contacts. Okay, so 2000 contacts is a decent volume of contact. Until you get to that point, I'm sure you will end up making some money. So what you get for free is you get CRM for free, so you can manage your customers. Okay, you get a website builder for free. So on MailChimp, you can build your own website, which is amazing. You get a MailChimp domain, and you get forms and landing pages. So imagine if you were to tell me कि website नहीं है and all those things, but I have shown you कि free में website बन सकता है. Okay, a domain cost is not more than $800 to 1500. Okay, if your name is uh, quite easily available, right? So I would just say कि if you want a website, you can get it up and running for maybe less than $1,000 right now today. Similarly, Linktree is something which I have mentioned, which is again, let's say if you're using Instagram, and on Instagram you are putting link in your bio. So what happens on Instagram is you cannot put links on your post. You have to put the link in your bio, and in your bio, a person will click and they will go to a particular website where you want to push them. Now, this is where Linktree helps. What Linktree does is something simple. So as simple as, one second. Okay. So Linktree just does this, which is it creates a page like this, which is like a landing page, and it gives different links. And these links are basically links where you want to try and push your customer. So imagine if you have an Instagram page, and on your link tree you put follow me on Facebook, you put follow me on LinkedIn, you put the Medium page which we are talking about, and you put maybe a shopping page which you want them to buy from you. Okay, so maybe your Amazon store link, maybe a e-commerce link, maybe a Instamojo link, anything can be put out there. Okay, so if you see this, if I just want to do this, so let's say, so they are just asking me to create a link, and let's say I will do this. Let's say, okay, I'll just write my name, save my password. Tell us about yourself: internet technology, independent small business, business professional, and I'm not a robot. I save my details. This is where it starts. It's free. Get unlimited links. See the total number of times people have clicked. Okay, I'll continue with free right now. Continue. Add a new link. Okay, my website. Okay. So you can see here it's showing me what is happening. Add new link and Jeet's Instagram. Just randomly putting stuff right now. So don't worry. It detected that my link is not right, so I'll have to. I think it should be Instagram.com/Jeetajani or something. Yeah. So you got Jeet's Instagram, my website. Similarly, you can put in a lot of other links, and people, and this is put this particular thing. So this is my link tree link. If I copy this and I will paste it here in the browser, this is what opens up. Okay, I have to obviously verify that once, but I can just push this on my bio on Instagram and also on Facebook and other places so that people can visit these links which are important to me. So imagine if I want to send them to my shop. So uh, buy one get one free today. Okay, so I want to send these guys to my shop, and that's what I would do. Let's just take this guy and change this name. Okay, yeah. So immediately I have made the link more, actionable, and it's saying buy one get one free. That's the campaign which I am running maybe. So people click on this and they go on to my payment page. Let's say there is another solution which is Tap Link, which again does the same thing. Okay, wherein you can push in a lot of these things, and you can have these like you can ask people to schedule an appointment, contact them, and all these things. Taplink is little more advanced than um, Linktree, but this is where you can actually get started in this way so that you can have multiple links. You can have a micro landing page. So instead of having a landing page on maybe MailChimp and all, you can use this to create your own landing page also. Check this out. It creates smart links to all your messaging apps. So if someone wants to connect with you and they are more used to Facebook Messenger, they can just directly connect with you on Facebook. And intelligently, this tap link creates that. All your social accounts, like there manually I was putting in, here all my accounts will be connected with the right logos and everything so that they know where they are landing. Create a micro landing page. You can ask them to fill and also accept payments online. Okay. So this is another sophisticated option which is there. It's easy. If you see a few of these things, you'll get the idea. Visit website, read my blog, visit my store. Whereas this one shows maps. This other one is showing, you can say, all your paintings or something and videos basically. Check this out. Follow me, Amazon favorites. So this is a intelligent way to actually put in all your links, multiple links in one place and get this done in the right way. So let's see. Yeah. So that's where Mofu can be taken care of with these kind of solutions. I'll just add tap link. The last part is you need to facilitate buying. So you need a payment processor. So payment processors, there are many, but I would recommend InstaMojo and Razorpay. Most of the payment processors are free of cost to sign up for. They will charge you a fee only on transactions. So Razorpay as well as InstaMojo, you can sign up instantly and you can start creating your online stores also using these. So if you see the InstaMojo network, they actually have not just payment gateway is one part of it, but they also do Mojo stores and all that. So I would just say to start off, start with the payment part so that you get a payment link. A payment link is nothing else but you can send a link to people and you can ask them to pay. So imagine right now, you can just ask people to pay on one particular link for a particular service or something. So you can create a link directly. You can share it via multiple channels. You can accept payments via any mode of payment. So you don't need the hassle of credit card, debit card, and all those things. And you can also specify what is the amount that you want them to pay, or else you can ask them to pay what you want. And it's as simple as create your first payment link. The moment I'll go on to this, they will just push me in that funnel, right? You can track and view analytics for all of this. The best part about this thing would be, uh, like you might say, ki I have, let's say, Google Pay, I use Paytm, and all these things. Those are payment receiving options, but those are payment receiving options when we are running a very personal thing. As a business or as an entrepreneur, you want to analyze your payment cycles. You want to see what worked, what didn't work. That's why you would want a very simple way of accepting payments which can be tracked individually, and that's what InstaMojo gives you. Tracking on Google Pay, you will come to a point wherein so many people are doing transactions, you will not be able to track it easily, and it will become a pain point. Why have that wherein you can maintain all your payments on one side and just give this to your CA or whoever is managing your accounts, and they can tell you what is happening in your particular business. Okay. There are also buttons which you can embed on your website and all. So this also becomes more simpler for people to trust and buy. QR code, if you have a actual store, you can actually convert into QR codes and people can do the payments, right? So this is how. Now check this out. The moment I came to the end of this particular page, they are giving me a free growth hack. This is a ebook. Okay, what if I fill in this? I will be part of their funnel. They will start pushing emails to me. The moment I have downloaded this, they understand ki, okay, this lead is interested to make money online. So they will start facilitating all the content around this to me. Okay, I hope that is clear, and that's how you can actually go through the funnel and establish it for yourself in the most simplest of simple ways. Okay, right now my time is done from the point of view of what I had to say. Taplink is, one second, let's just check Taplink. One second, it's a good question. Taplink. Taplink has a price connected to it, but they will have some parts of it free. So let's just see the pricing. Yeah. So in the basic version, you can do these things. Okay. But if you want more parts of it, like what we discussed is you want to have analytics. Okay. You want to have a customization in terms of your design and all those things, and you want to integrate Facebook Pixel. Now this itself is a very cool thing, because if you want to track all your you can say links, or the way people are clicking and they are coming to your particular store or site, then you can track it through the Facebook Pixel. Again, second part which you can do is you can also start remarketing to Facebook Pixel. Okay, so this is where Facebook Pixel, and it's just 85 rupees per month right now, which is crazy. The pro feature, the business feature, is also these things wherein they're giving you a SSL certificate. They are able to capture leads. You are able to get, you are able to accept payments online. So that is in the pro version. Sorry, the business version, which is at 195 rupees per month, which is again, if you think of it, it's not that expensive. 2000, less than 2400 a year, which is great. Yes, Ritika says I'll have to verify. Yes, I was just showcasing that. But yeah, you're right. So, guys, with this, I am like what I had to talk about this topic. I have done that, but I would like to hear more from you guys. What are your questions? So please feel free to come back with questions. There is a question already. One second, which I cannot see for some reason. So, Ikjot Singh is asking ki how effective will a company place mat presentation for doing B2B pitch meetings? I just had one question. You mentioned placemat, or is it placement? Basically, you're asking how effective will the company uh, presentation be for doing B2B pitch meetings. Um, the point over here is any kind of presentation which you make in an infographic style, people normally would understand it better. Okay, in terms of, now I understand doing a B2B pitch, how will you execute it? What I would recommend is you have to make it simple in the terms of what the customer is actually looking at, or what is the problem that you are solving. And if that is done, then it would actually work much better than a normal presentation, because usually there are a lot of slides with jargons, and there are a lot of slides with a lot of data to go through. But if you talk about things in the most simplest of ways, it would really help anyone to understand the solution more easily and effectively. Like if you see examples of pitches done by Airbnb and pitches done by Uber in the earlier part of their earlier life cycle, these guys actually pitch their solutions very simple, in a very simple way to people. And that's where I would say it's an effective way to actually present. But it's not, you need to know your audience is what I would also say. If you know your audience is not used to it, then do an infographic presentation, but if you are not going to be there, then record it with the voiceover and share that with them. They would really appreciate that more than anything. I hope that answers your question. I'm open to questions. If there are any, please let me know. Next Saturday for this year, that is 26th December, and is on growth hacking, which is basically, do you want to growth hack? So we'll be talking about few tricks and tips how exactly you can implement growth hacking for your business. Okay, growth hacking is a very nice way to actually you can say accelerate your product service offering and get more people to join into your funnel or get more attention. Okay, there is okay, there's one question which I received, which is any marketing resources that you would recommend to learn more about marketing from the base up. Okay, okay, let's just go through this. In terms of marketing resources, one of the marketing resources I would recommend is HubSpot. Okay, and especially the HubSpot blog, because most of the times anything which is related to digital marketing, let's say for example I would search for email marketing. Okay, and I would just search for this, and when we do this search, obviously there are few things which are coming on top. So you see HubSpot will be a contender always. Okay, and what they do beautifully, what I like about them is they provide templates to use, or they provide with additional resources. So basically, these are 19 examples of brilliant email marketing campaigns and templates. So you can go through this a bit, and it's an extensive post, but you can also download it. You can download the template and start using it as you want. They have got a lot of videos. They have got a lot of guides which are coming there. So that's why I really like HubSpot. One, second, I would say in digital marketing, you can also check out one other source which I recommend, which I really like, is CoSchedule. Okay, CoSchedule is also you can say a CRM kind of a solution, as well as a solution for marketing automation. So I really like their blogs and the way they write about stuff. They also have a podcast which is called AMP, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Actionable Marketing Podcast. So wherein they get in these guys who are actually leaders in marketing. So Rand Fishkin is the creator of Moz. Okay, the founder of Moz. There is Brian Dean, and this guy has insane knowledge of SEO. Okay, there is Noah Kagan, and this guy has basically a crazy knowledge of marketing tactics and growth hacking, if you would see right now. So, and he's got a crazy website called AppSumo, and the whole website model is around getting deals for digital products. So if you go on to AppSumo, you can actually start getting deals for some of the latest marketing martech softwares which you can use for yourself. So let's see, and yeah. So basically, sometimes here you get deals which are worth maybe $1,000, but you'll get it for $100. Okay, like right now there is a deal for Swipe Pages, which is for $49. Okay, and the actual price for this is $1,044. So if you were to use Swipe Pages by yourself, uh, without this offer, you would end up spending $1,044. And today, like this is we use for landing pages, for creating landing pages, we use a system called Unbounce. Unbounce costs us around $200 per month. And what I am getting here is, so $200 per month is easily $2,400 a year is what we are spending on landing page solution. whereas I'm getting it for $49. So this is what AppSumo is. Now, these are a few trusted sources, I would say, and I would say don't get into the whole hustle of learning without implementing. So that's why I would just restrict my recommendations to HubSpot and Course Schedule, especially if you are starting. And later, when you will see online, you will automatically get more and more. You can say acquainted with what are the other resources you should be following, right? So I hope that helps. Awesome, that is done. How about something about the basic and framework of marketing? I feel I've learned here and there, but I haven't started with building a strong foundation base. Okay, can you tell me more about what you want to actually learn? Because today, marketing, when you think about it, it's become highly personalized. There are people who learn. There are people who know. No one knows everything about marketing today because you cannot. It's a field which is growing daily by leaps and bounds. So rather than focusing on, I have learned here and there and all those things, first you need to have a focus. Ki what do you want to do? So is it Instagram? Do you want to become an Instagram expert? Do you want to become a Pinterest expert or LinkedIn expert? So you need to choose one part and do it really well. Unless you know about that point, I would say do not get into learning about everything. It's not going to help. This I learned the hard way actually. Okay. So if you want to learn about product marketing, then you need to first learn. I would My recommendation would be start working with the startup who is into a product, and you will start learning from there, and then you would start looking at all these things, basics that every marketer should know. I would just say go on to any basic course on maybe basic digital marketing course. Just go through. Neil Patel might be having something on YouTube. So go through that. You can also check out Digital Deepak in India, and he must be for sure having these things, and that would help you, right? Kalyani is asking, I'm in education. Which media is good to promote? Can you tell me a lot more about like what kind of education business are you in? Because then I can give a specific recommendation rather than a random thing. Like who is your audience? What are the courses? Okay, SAT coaching. Okay. Now, in terms of SAT coaching, I would recommend you want to talk to more of the youngsters as well as, people who are trying to apply, trying to do these things. My recommendation would be Instagram as well as Instagram and LinkedIn mainly, I would say. These are two places which would help you to get more traction. LinkedIn is expensive for ads, so I would stick to Instagram and Facebook to start with, and then later on check out how to scale it up from there. In terms of posting, you will need a lot of content for education in India. The number one piece of content which anyone needs is testimonials. So getting good testimonials from your people who you have coached is very important. And the second form of content which I would recommend is have people, help people to. So you must be over this period of time where you have got so much experience in the space. You must be knowing what are the usual questions, right? Make a list of the usual questions which people ask and make a video around that. So that would really help people get satisfied with their doubts. And you'll be surprised what will happen is people will have these questions in their mind, but you have already satisfied them. So automatically trust will be generated, and they will look at your business as the number one source for SAT coaching, right? I hope that helps, Kalyan. Any other thing, guys? Any other questions or answers? So let me ask you guys a question. What is it that you guys are looking forward to in 2021? I want to Start my own digital marketing business company. Okay. Start and grow a funnel, sell more books. Awesome. To grow the marketing where I work, leverage social media. Bhavit asks, I'm a college student. I have just started my e-commerce business in which I sell wall decals, stickers, and we do provide customization. How can I get someone who can teach me? What do you, Bhavit? The question is, what do you want to learn? Facebook ads. Bhavit, there are a lot of people right now who are running e-commerce sessions, which are uh, Bhavit, there are a lot of people who are doing, you can say, courses on e-commerce. So, have you joined any one of them? Because, like, there is Tejas Zaveri, who I know, who was doing, like, he was running his own startup called Flintstock, which was an e-commerce marketplace. And from there, he started also teaching how to run your own e-commerce business. So I would say join any one of his courses, which is like he does a 5-day workshop, I think, online for $2,000 or something, 1,000 or $2,000. Just do that. You will learn Facebook ads. Devyani is asking how to use a Facebook marketplace or Facebook marketing to sell your products. Devyani, so I know you are trying to sell your products right now, and you want to sell it from Facebook, but sadly, Facebook does not allow to sell very easily things online. What I mean by that is, if you have an e-commerce store, then that would really help you and accelerate your process rather than selling it on Facebook marketing. Marketplace, yes, you can start listing down your products on Facebook Marketplace. That might get you some buyers. But what I would ask you to do is try to create a brand, okay, across your domain, because I saw your Insta page and quite that has got good images and everything, right? And that can help you to create a brand of yourself. You're getting queries from marketplace, that's crazy. So I would say start listing your products there and get as much as in you can say action as possible. But creating a brand would help people recognize your sarees instantly. Like I see you guys have taken effort to take photographs in a certain style, which is a good start, because that is going to help anyone recognize ki, okay, these sarees are from Devyani in that sense. So that is one part of it. Create a narrative around it, like where are these sarees from, what are these sarees of. If you can collaborate with people in the fashion space who can actually start wearing your sarees and showcase them on their page and share, that will give you a lot more traction. So that particular thing is going to help you by leaps and bounds. So, and that is the only play for that is you have to DM them. You have to get into accounts and you have to start DMing people. I would say you would be surprised to see even bigger influencers will be open to doing this. Okay, so that can accelerate your business, is what I believe. Hetal says your sessions are informative and inspire me to try out different things. Awesome. Always here to help, Hetal. Um, Danish is asking what should be a reasonable digital marketing budget for a startup which is bootstrap. Danish, I would like to know more about your startup. Then I can, talk about that particular thing. The only thing which I can recommend to you is, Danish, do not get into the trap of doing everything at one time. What I mean by that is running Facebook ads, running Google ads, running Instagram ads, running LinkedIn ads. That is not the way to do this. What you need to figure out is where do your ideal customers hang out and reach out to them there. You would be surprised when you go with a singular focus, you will start spending lesser on your budget, okay? And you will start looking at more conversions because you have targeted them specifically. So Rather than thinking of the budget, I would say think about who exactly is your customer and where do they come from, because that is how you're going to get a much more higher, you can say, return on your ad spend. There is someone who is asking, do you think an MBA is necessary in today's day and age? It's a very, you can say, crazy question, or crazy, it has a crazy answer. I would give a crazy answer. MBA is not necessary in today's day and age. An MBA was never a necessity in any day and age. The point which is there is, if you are a, you need to identify, you need to be self-aware about who you are. If you are a person who is academically brilliant and who can garner that kind of attention through academics, then it's good, do the MBA if you are wishing to do it. But if you are not a person who learns by studying and reading, but are a very much more practical person who learns by doing things, then I would say don't waste time. Start pursuing some or the other job, and that's where you can get into this. Ritika says most of the companies ask for a MBA degree. Depends who are these companies. Uh, you need to, Ritika, you need to understand where are you applying for jobs. So if you are applying for job where MBA is a mandatory requirement, and just to fulfill that you are doing an MBA, that is the worst way to get into it, because I totally know of people who do not have MBA but they are leading companies, right? Second thing is, the second part to this answer would be, I would rather spend my money on some other kind of courses, which is, there is a alt MBA, okay, which is a program run by Seth Godin. So one second. So I would rather spend my money on this, which is a 4 week online workshop, because I know it for a fact this guy is the real deal in terms of marketing. And look at where all this particular courses are going on. So this is Seth Godin. You will learn by people who are in all these crazy places. Okay. So I would rather apply for something like this than what we are talking about in MBA. Gurleen has said something. One second. Gurleen is saying a mistake women often make is waiting to apply for a role when they have all the requirements. As women, we need to push for the roles even if we have. Oh, I like that answer. Uh, but it's not right to keep it as a men do this and get ahead. We need to do the same. Awesome. More power to you, Gurleen. Uh, Ritika, it's not about whether it's right or not to keep it as a mandatory requirement. Sometimes, people keep things as a mandatory requirement because they want to avoid the wrong people walking in the gate. So if you feel you are the right person, just walk into the gate and say, this is it. And then that's where you need to show them the MBA is not required. And think about it, MBA is being taught by people who have not done businesses for themselves. And that's the biggest joke which I feel. It's just a degree, nothing else. Rather, here when I meet, like, let's say if this is the course which I want to do, here I am learning from people who are actually into this particular, you can say, industry, working for all these guys, where you want to apply and where you are saying maybe MBAs are a must. So, anyways, it's a controversial topic. I wouldn't want to get into it a lot more. Okay. Q&A. One second. Okay. Done. Alam Khan is asking for B2B business, which would be a good platform to choose, Twitter or LinkedIn. We're using LinkedIn for 2 through 3 months, not getting business as expected. Um, Alam, I would want to understand your business first to answer that. Both Twitter and LinkedIn are, decent platforms. LinkedIn should give you results, but what are the results you are expecting in the first case, right? And what is your product? Is it like you're saying it's B2B? So in 2 to 3 months, if you're not getting results, were the results leads or were the results sales? How to market product on Product Hunt? Okay. So do you have a digital product? What is it? Okay. Bhavit, what I would recommend is you can send me the website on email. Actually, here's my email ID. Okay, send me the website on email and ask me to review it. I'll review it and I will share the information with you. In terms of the second part of the question, is it mandatory in India to give COD? COD in India is a very big thing. Almost 60% of your sales, 60 to 70% of your sales on e-commerce would come from COD. So you tell me whether you want 60 or 70% of your business, then you need to give COD. Alam Khan, I would like to understand what exactly is your product because I didn't help you anywhere. One second, let's talk to Alam Khan. Alam Khan, you can unmute yourself and we can do this over speech. Alam Khan is gone. Okay. So, guys, thanks a lot for sticking in. It was great talking to all of you guys. It would be my pleasure if you can give me some feedback on the session, how I can improve this further. Okay. In terms of connecting with me, you can connect with me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and email across these channels. Next time, the link is already shared by Ritika. Do you want to growth hack? Is the session 26 December? It will be a Christmas special, I guess. Saturday, 11 a.m. So see you at that time. In case of anything, any doubts, any questions, you can come back and maybe share those questions next time or else send an email. Alternatively, you can visit all our previous webinars wherein someone was asking about where can I get a good source of learning. Then I would really recommend go to singularity.in/webinars, wherein all our past webinars which we have been doing are there. And as you can see, the topics range from right from framework of content, social media, live blog writing, writing for advertisements, content writing for SEO, video creation workshop, productivity, top 10 marketing tools, inbound. So it's all across the domain of digital marketing. I would really recommend singularity.in/webinars. Go on to this page and check out for yourself what you guys have missed and would really appreciate to get feedback. Also, in the future, what are the topics that you guys want us to do sessions on? What are the real problems that you guys are facing? So, if you want any particular topic to be done in the future, please recommend that. If you guys can take 2 minutes of your time and just give us few topics, that would really help. You can DM us at Insta also. Product marketing session. Okay. what I would recommend is it would be great if you guys could follow Singularity on Instagram and message us out there directly. What are the topics you want to check out? Okay, off-page optimization, creating backlinks. Okay, how can Pinterest help? Nice. Okay, e-commerce. Guys, everyone, welcome and thanks a lot for your time. It was great having you guys as always on a Saturday. Cheers and have a great weekend.